This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.
Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports, and today we have the athletic director of UMKC on the program. It's been on the program before, but what we want to do, I follow him on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and some other channels, and he's come out with rules elevating, lifting lives, mindsets, and consciousness for change and unity. And so what I want Dr. Martin to talk about is that, and how he came to create this mindset and the things that he's doing with that. Welcome, Dr. Martin.
Thank you, Carlos, for having me. I really enjoy our time together. I really enjoyed the last interview we had where we talked about our men's basketball team.
You want to back up a little bit so I can see? I want to see your shirt. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go. We want to let the people know who we interviewing.
Okay.
UMKC is our hometown.
All right.
Division I, and I'm gonna lead this off right off the bat. We've been doing HBCUs, but UMKC is like hometown, like family, and we're going to be paying quite a bit of attention to their program. So for all our listeners, you need to know that.
Absolutely. So thanks again, Carlos, for this opportunity to be on the show again. This new endeavor is all about lifting mindsets. It's about lifting lives. It's about lifting consciousness. And when we talk about trying to engender change in this period of unrest, this period of the unknown, this period where Black Lives Matter, I felt it was critically important for us to put together some programming where we could elevate not just the African-American student athletes in my department, but we can elevate all coaches, staff, and student athletes, whether you're white, Black, Latino, whether you're Asian, whatever race, whatever class, and irrespective of gender. We want all parties to be uplifted, with the understanding that we do need to cater to the demographic and the population of our African-American athletes. So there is a prong of this programming where I've entitled it Discourses of Being Black in America. And I felt that was important for me to do as a Black man in this country, as a Black athletics director, to be able to provide a space for student athletes, African-American student athletes, to talk about how they feel about what's going on with the George Floyd situation. Talk about how they feel about the events surrounding police brutality. To talk about where those pain points are, but not just talk about those, but really delve into an action plan. I don't want this to be a situation where we have 5 or 6 meetings and we vent, and that's important. That's therapeutic. But what are the actions moving forward? Inevitably, there's going to be some student athletes who say, Dr. Martin, I want to go and I want to protest. And maybe some of them already have. And that's fine. But they need to understand the difference between protest, rioting, and looting. There's 3 different levels to that. And so if you are going to protest, you need to understand why you're doing it and what's your outcome. And so that's my effort moving forward.
Hey, Dr. Martin, we're really on the same page on all of that. I don't know whether you've noticed, because, you know, we have other networks with Cascade Media Group. I haven't covered any of that protest per se, for the simple reason is in 6 months, it'll be business as usual unless you have an action plan that and a strategy to implement that plan. And I don't think that a lot of our young people and older people, but they have a different reason why they don't do things.
Sure.
Are trying to speak real truth to power. And from my point of view, those protests are good for enlightening the community, but it all stems economics. Economics speak. And I talked to you about some things off camera that the reason things are like they are because the people that have the economics have the power. And they have the power to implement the plan that they want to implement to control the situation. So I think we're definitely on the same page when it comes to what should we do. That's why I mentioned what you're doing. And let me say this: I'm a simple guy, and I don't suck up. I don't suck up to the mayor. I don't suck up to but I'm telling you, I have to commend you on having the courage to even bring these type subjects. Most of these people, they bring this stuff up after the train done left the station and got a full steam ahead. And with you being a brand new athletic director at UMKC, everything that you do, you're putting your job on the line, especially when you are talking about sensitive issues. They will come now, and administrations will look at things now because the whole world is watching. But you was out front on this from what I call the jump street.
Yeah, a long time ago. But Carlos, if you really peel this onion back and you look at the type of programming that I'm implementing, the discourses in being Black in America, the ruse elevating lives, mindsets, and consciousness. These student athletes are students first. And so when they come to campus, this is the type of student development programming that they need to be educated, to be well-informed, to have confidence in whatever type of action plan that they want to put forth, but be able to survive in this world, in a society. And so higher education is a microcosm of the real world. And so this type of programming is only an extension. It only augments to what they learn in the classroom, what they learn on the court field, of course, tennis court, whatever respective sport that they participate in. This is to augment that. And this type of programming is one where I feel that I need to be hands-on. And that's different because there's a lot of athletic directors who they delegate that. And they say, well, my staff is going to do it for whatever reason. But this is a pride point for me. This is a time where we have to capture this moment with our student athletes, and we have to seize this window of opportunity that we have. There's no other time that I can remember, maybe Carlos, you can remember, where student athletes in higher education have had a stronger voice. I mean, if you look at the protest at Florida State in recent days, if you look at some of the activity, even at Mizzou with the football players, if you look at, there was one isolated student athlete at Ohio State who was detained, he wasn't arrested, but who had a voice, you know, and was for the cause. This is going to continue. And so I feel, as the director of athletics at UMKC, that I need to be solution focused in this time.
Hey, Coach, this is what I would say on that. First of all, we're living in a sports society. Sports is key on everything. I'm getting ready to do some comment. I don't deal with the NFL per se, but I'm getting ready. And I was debating, do I have, and now I'm going to put my courage against your courage to come out. I was debating, do you want to say what you want to say about the NFL and the apparel and all the money that is being spent on apparel by African Americans to really go to something that is not really helping you. They're really keeping you where you're at, because we're talking economics. The other thing is, I think I told you about John Carlos. Was like, when I was in high school, John was 3 or 4 years older than me, and in the summertime, I used to run on relay teams with him. We're really close. When John and Tommy Smith held their fist up with that black glove, that was a changing moment. But they paid for that. John's wife committed suicide, and he couldn't get a job anywhere. They were virtually unemployed. And you just pointed out, the times have changed. And this is the same type of moment. And how do we respond to that intelligently? And
absolutely.
I go back to LeBron James. LeBron comes out, the establishment says, you need this type of agent per se. He says, no, this is going to be my agent. I'm the product, and you're not going to tell me what to do per se. And I think what you're doing in waking athletes up in general, letting them know they have to be critical thinkers, and that doesn't have anything to do with color. It has to do with your interests.
That's right. One issue that I've had with the curriculum that has been adopted in higher education is that we don't teach our student athletes and our students to be critical thinkers. They become experts maybe in subject matter expertise in an area, but we don't teach them how to be critical thinkers. When you talk about Black student athletes, they have to be critical thinkers on how they navigate the world. There's going to be peaks and valleys. The vicissitudes in life are inevitable, and they need that blueprint on how to network, how to position themselves for success, how to deal with some of the roads of potential discrimination that they might see. And hopefully they don't. They need to be equipped with the skills.
You're real hopeful. I'm not. I'm more you teaching those athletes to be critical thinkers, to make good decisions based on their beliefs and based on reality, what they're living in. Because racism exists, and it's all about economics. And one has to, if you're not teaching them that, if you're not, well, not you per se, putting programs and putting that on the table, I should say, very few programs are really doing that. And I think UMKC should get wholeheartedly behind your effort. The administration, their people that are donating funds. If you truly want to see a better world, a better UMKC, there are a lot of high school athletes at this point that, with these protests, are thinking a little different on where I might want to go to school. What do they represent? And so I would say that you're right on point, Dr. Martin.
Yeah. And I want to touch on that point that you made in terms of the new paradigm of, we have high school star athletes who perhaps could consider HBCU. Maybe that's going to pique their interest. And that would inevitably help a lot of these HBCUs financially. We understand that, because it goes back to your point. It's all about economics. But one of the things that I want to do is I really want these student athletes to understand the opportunity that they have at UMKC to engender the change that they want to see in the world, to be leaders. They have any job that they want to pursue, they can do it. But as Black athletes, there's a different type of effort. There's a different type of way that they have to network. And it's a different way that they have to position themselves. And it's a unique way that they have to carve out their voice. And more than ever now, we're seeing the Black athlete in college, not even in college, even at the professional level, having more of a voice than ever. But you have to be organized, and you have to be goal-oriented, and you have to be focused on the outcomes when you have this voice. So there's a level of responsibility with this voice that we currently have.
Hey Coach, talk to our young athletes about this. What's happening over at UMKC with the construction and the things that would want a young athlete to come? One thing I will say to any young athlete that's listening to this, I don't care where you go, you need a good administration behind you. I don't care how good you are and how critically you're thinking. You'll wind up transferring when you get into a situation as an African American or Black athlete, and they're not even on the same page remotely as what you're on. And Dr. Martin is saying to you, you come to UMKC and you top 5 out of Kansas City, we're moving, we're going places. We're going places where you're not going to be on the bench if you have the talent. You're going to be there, and you're going to be one that is at the forefront of making the change that you feel that you want to see. And I'm telling you, as I told you, I'm HBCU bound, but for a Kansas City athlete to play and build a audience in his own hometown, it's nothing like it.
Absolutely. And I want to comment on your first point that you made about representation. One of the issues that we have is that we have an overrepresentation of Black student athletes in revenue generating sports, but we have an underrepresentation of administrators at the level. Not so much coaches, but administrators. And so if you want to talk about a support system, you have a support system of, number one, an athletics director that's not only African American, but is an AD and also a professor in 2 departments on campus, in the Block School of Management and a School of Education, but one that has been a former student athlete. One has done a lot of the things that they want to do. To speak to our goal, we want to build that fence around Kansas City. And we want Kansas City to be, and I talked about this on our last interview, to be that Wichita State, to be that Creighton, to be that high mid-major. But it's going to take effort, and it's going to take efforts like getting entrenched in the community, meeting with people like Mark Bedell, meeting with people like Dan Clemens, the superintendents, respectively at North KC and Kansas City Public Schools. It's going to take efforts like getting involved with some of the, even some of the churches in the community. It's going to take a high level of presence for us to build that trust in the community that UMKC is the place where you want to be. Now, if you look at our track record the last 16 months of what we've done, what Coach Dowland has done, what Coach J.C. Hoyt has done, what even some of our non-revenue sports and Olympic sports have done, we've proven ourselves. We've invested close to $3 million in facility enhancements. We've done incredible things with our Swinney Center. With the court.
Excuse me for cutting you off. I don't know who made the decision to go back to Swinney, but I think that was the best decision that UMKC could have made at this point.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, Carlos, and it's paid dividends for us in terms of now we've increased student attendance by 71%, because now they don't have to go to municipal. They can just come right down to Swinney. And we have a special student section for them. We have pregame activities for the students. We have a DJ now. So the game atmosphere, the game environment is one that caters to the students. But we also have a demographic of fans that, you know, they want to see a different form of entertainment that's more family focused, family centric. And we have those game elements involved as well. So it's a very unique and sophisticated approach with our fan demographic, but we've been successful up to this point. And we plan to continue that despite the challenges with COVID-19 and some of the things that might come down this fall.
Well, hey, Coach, it's been a pleasure talking to you. What I would ask you, what would be your parting statements to your fans, to your donors, to your fellow administrators, and to prospective student athletes? I know high school student, I know that's a bunch, but I know you can handle it.
Sure. This is our moment for change. This is our moment for elevation. This is our moment to capture all of the dreams that we've always wanted for UMKC, that we've always wanted for Kansas City. This is our moment to hold hands together, whether you're on truce, across truce, or if you're in the plaza. This is our moment to hold hands and elevate and support our student athletes, support our university, support Chancellor Agrawal in his effort to move UMKC forward. This is our moment. And we have to continue to elevate despite the challenges of COVID-19, and despite some of the recent developments involving the civil unrest and urban unrest that surround the George Floyd murder. This is about us using this moment and this opportunity not to blame, not to point finger, but to collectively come together as one team with one goal, and that's to elevate Kansas City.
Hey, Coach, it's a plum pleasing pleasure to have you on the show, and I look forward for UMKC's program to move forward and all of their sports, because it's nothing like having a full gym in basketball, or a full stadium in soccer, or the tennis buffs on the plaza looking at the hometown. It's just like family. It's nothing more than you like to see your son playing. There's nothing more you like seeing your daughter playing a sport and wishing them well and inviting family and friends out to see that. And I think it's really time for Kansas City to step up to the plate and say, not a bunch of negativity. You want UMKC to change? Then you need to be influencing the athletes and your family that's involved in high school sports to let them know, hey, I know there's a lot of things out there, but UMKC is not a bad choice for you. And that, you, as I said earlier, I don't be sucking up or be saying things that I don't believe in. I would love to see UMKC at the top of the rung. The heck with Wichita or any of them. I would like to see UMKC competing with some of the best teams in the nation. And that doesn't happen without the community supporting, and it doesn't happen without you having the horses. And I think Coach Donovan, he is working feverishly with his staff to try to improve that situation. But for the Kansas City community, a close game can be decided just by who's in that gym and who's cheering. So you have a part to play in making UMKC what I know if you're a Kansas Cityan, you want to see. It's like I've been here since '78, and new teams came in the NFL, and the Chiefs hadn't won, and the fans have been really loyal. And so I was really happy to see them win. But you need to transfer that loyalty into our only Division I university here in Kansas City. And I look forward to my audience to do some deep look in the mirror. Have you done what you can do to help this university achieve the goals that Dr. Martin and his staff have pointed out? So in closing, as I always say, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
This program is brought to you by Dye Electric LLC, Energy in Motion.